welcome to Conversations. I'm Mike May, and tonight we have with us Grace Snyder. And Snyder's spelled in a different way, I just found out.
It is. It's S-N-A-J-D-E-R.
S-N-A-J-D-E-R. Now, what ethnic background is that?
That would be Polish.
Jak się masz? Oh, I'm half Polish.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and that's all the Polish I know.
I know none, so you know more than me.
Okay, all right. Except for dobrze and some curse words my father would say around the house when we didn't do what we wanted him to do. But that's okay. Oh, all right. Okay, so we're related. I say I learned something new. I learned something new already. Now, I invited Grace here because you took an interesting trip a few months ago, and I wanted you to tell us about it. So what was it that you did?
Yes, so I led a mission trip to Fort Myers, and that was back in February. So it was about 4 months after Hurricane Ian hit that I led a team of 6 down there.
And a team to do what?
We were doing a lot of rebuilding, and then also just working with people down there that we met. So homeowners, people even in just the neighborhoods that we didn't know, and just talking with them and really sharing the love of Christ with them. That was the goal. If we did less on the house and more interacting with people and talking with people, that was fine by everybody.
Okay. Now, how did this come about? We were talking earlier, and you said you went on the first of these trips when you were how old?
I was 17.
17. So tell us about that trip.
Sure. So the first trip that I went to was Corpus Christi after Hurricane Harvey. I was 17. It was my first adult trip. And so I was the youngest there.
Oh.
And it was my first time seeing that kind of devastation because it was 3 months after Hurricane Harvey hit. And we were right where Hurricane Harvey had landfall. And so there was a lot of wind damage. And so that trip was really eye-opening to see that kind of devastation, to see stilts with no homes on them and neighborhoods completely gone. And so after that, my heart just kind of poured out to them, and I really wanted to do more. So then the second trip was a youth trip, since I was a senior in high school.
Okay.
And so we went to Houston, and that was where the flood damage was, because Hurricane Harvey sat and spun and dropped 60 inches of rain.
I know, I remember reading about that.
Yes. And so that trip was very different because we were inside the home, we were doing mudding and taping versus demoing, and it was just as much of impact on my life. And so after that, it's become something that I really love to do.
So now when you say on the first trip you did demoing?
Yes, so we gutted a house, and the house was not in great shape before the storm. And so now after the storm, the homeowner, unfortunately, we think was a hoarder. So there was a lot of things that she wanted to keep that shouldn't have been kept, and lots of mice poop in the house. And so you had to get over that fear of you're going to be covered in a lot of stuff, and you have to be okay with things just dropping on you. And
how did you do?
I did okay. Right. I did okay. It's kind of, it's enjoyable smashing things. Okay. So that's what we did all week, was just demoing the house. And I don't know what ended up with the house. My thought is it may be a tear down, because you could see holes right through the house. I'm not really sure what happened, but we were able to get progress done on the house.
Okay. So now this trip, again, we were talking, now who is it that this is set up through?
Yes, so it's the Evangelical Free Church of America. It's their crisis response. And so they respond to natural disasters, wars, anything that has a crisis. They're not necessarily the first there, but they're the last to leave.
So they have a department, for lack of a better word, they're on the ready. Something happened.
Like a nonprofit.
It's a nonprofit, and they get people together. Okay, we're going to send people in to try
so
to
they have staff that they send to sites, and then those staff set up teams. And so those teams will all work on the different sites. And it's worldwide.
Okay. So now, how did you set up the team? Tell me about that.
Yeah, so I worked with EFCA, and they gave me all of the information that I needed to be able to set up a team. They're really, really great with organization. And so they gave me the paperwork, they gave me the deadlines, and then I just had to go to our pastor and ask, hey, I'm going to go down to Florida. I'd like to bring a team. Can I bring a team? And he said, for sure, go for it. And so that's how I started. I told the church what was happening and why I wanted to go and when it was going to be and how much it was. And then whoever felt led or wanted to go could. And so that's how we got our team together.
And how many people ended up going?
6 of us went.
And 6 including you, or 6?
6 including me.
6 including me.
And then we met up with a team there from Hershey, so we all worked together.
Now you mentioned the cost. So people are not only are they working for free, they have to pay themselves.
You do. So you do. You have to pay the church because we're staying there, so it helps them host us, and for tools and for supplies and all of that. So EFCA asks for $340 per person, which isn't bad at all. And then it's just flights and rental car after that, and food.
Oh, okay. All right. So people are putting themselves out in 2 ways. They're working for free, maybe giving up vacation time, and then they have to pay for their own airfare, food, and such.
Yes.
So it's a real sacrifice.
It is. Some of us raise money, so you can raise money and have people support you, or you can do it out of your own cost.
Now, how do you? So how did you set up? Okay, here's these 5 people. They're in Connecticut. Now, how did you get them to Florida? How did it?
We flew. So one of our team members was really good with finding flights. So she found us a cheap flight out of Hartford, Bradley, and we flew Southwest right to Fort Myers, direct flight down there. And then we would just rented 2 cars and drove ourselves to the church.
Okay. Now, when you got there, okay, so you've just gotten off the plane. Now you've gotten in your car. You've driven down there, and you get to the church. So then what happens?
So then we have our welcome meeting, and so it just kind of goes over some of the guidelines, kind of what we're going to be doing during the week, safety protocols, all that kind of stuff. And then we just kind of get set up at the church for the night. We put our food away and make our beds and meet the other team members. We ended up playing card games, and it was just a good night of getting to know people.
Now, when you say safety protocols,
with tools and everything. So if you have kids at a certain age, you have to be so-and-so to use power tools and things like that, and those kind of safety tools.
So now I had asked this before, you're staying at the church. So
yes, so we stayed at an Evangelical Free Church. They hosted us, and so you separated by men and women, and sometimes you have bunk beds, sometimes you don't, so you have air mattresses, and then there's laundry and shower trailers, and some of the congregation will cook for us at night, so we had meals for the evenings, and then we packed our lunches for the daytime.
So it's like sleepaway camp for adults.
Very similar.
Okay.
Yep.
Now, you had said you were worried about you wanted to get to sleep before somebody did what?
Oh yeah, some people snore, so you want to get to sleep pretty quick.
Did you have a problem with that? Anybody
I do a little bit.
Oh, you snore?
Oh no, I don't snore.
Okay.
No.
She doesn't snore. Well, when I was at a school, I had a roommate. There was like 3 guys in a room. And not only would he talk in his sleep, he would yell in his sleep.
Oh no.
So one night, and he spoke very clearly, so one night I'm dead asleep, and he yells, "Look out! Here it comes!" And I'm asleep. Ah! And then I realized, So that woke me up.
That would do it.
Yes, that would definitely do it. Okay, so now you've gotten down there, you're getting set up. Now what we do, we have to take a short break, but we'll come back and you'll tell us, okay, now you're at the church, you're settled, and now you're going to go out and start working.
Yes.
Okay, and we'll be right back.
At Community Voice Channel, you learn television production with hands-on experience. Our programming comes from volunteers just like you. For more information on how to volunteer, call 860-645-1454 or visit www.cbcct.org. Don't just watch TV, make it.
Welcome back to Conversations, and we're here with Grace Snyder, and we just found out we're distantly related because we're both Polish on one side. And your trip to Florida to work on the houses. So you've gotten to Florida. It's your first day. What happened the first day?
So the first day, you had a couple houses that you could choose to go to. They all needed different things done, and so you picked where you wanted to go. And there was a whole group of houses in Bonita Springs, and then there was a house at Fort Myers Beach. And so the majority of us all went to Bonita Springs. And
Not any special reason you went to Bonita Springs, or just?
I picked the house that needed demo, and then a bathtub.
Because you have experience with that.
Yes, and a bathtub installation. And so I was like, oh, maybe I can learn something new and also do demo, which I've done before.
Yeah, okay.
And so that's where I picked. And most of the day was actually spent pulling out staples out of the wood. So we spent hours pulling out staples.
What do you mean out of the wood? Out of the?
Like out of the 4x4s.
Oh, you mean in the house?
In the
itself?
house,
Oh,
yes.
because
Yes.
everything had been stripped off, so you had to clean it up.
Yep, we had a little bit of demo left to do, and then most of it was pulling staples out of the whole house.
Okay, so you learned a lot that day.
Yep.
Okay, so now what else was involved in working on that house? Because you pulled all the staples out.
So you pull out the staples, you pull the insulation out, and then you have to spray for mold because it was water damage.
Yeah.
This house, this particular house, the first one I worked on, wasn't too bad. And then we had a contractor with us. He was part of the Hershey team, but he was a licensed contractor.
Okay.
So that was
Somebody
his
who
background.
actually knows how
Who
to
knows
do
what he's
something.
doing? Yes.
Right.
And so he started mapping out the bathroom. So seeing where the shower, the tub, the toilet was going to go. And so he did that while we went around just really doing all of the last bits and pieces of finishing demo. So it really was just taking out like little things in the corners and just pulling it out, and then all the staples.
So you're like clearing the deck so that the
Yes.
people with the actual skills could come in and just
Exactly.
start working. Okay. Anything? So that was that house. Now, did you work in any other houses?
Yep. So then the second day, on Tuesday, I worked on another
Oh,
demo.
this is just Tuesday.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
All right. Okay.
So Monday was the first house, Tuesday was house number 2,
Oh.
and this house was also a demo house, but was it needed more work. So it was just in the beginning stages of demo, and so that house.
So you got to smash some more stuff.
We got to smash more stuff, yes, and pull off a lot of walls that were very hard to pull off, and lots of insulation. And I mean, that house still had mud on the floors
Really?
because their backyard was right up at the canal.
Oh.
Beautiful view,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
when the storm surge came in, it got very flooded.
Yeah.
And so a lot of that was pulling out the walls, taking the insulation out, and then putting it all in a dumpster. And at this point, FEMA has taken themselves out, and so now the dumpster is all on the homeowners, all the cost. So you have to make the most of it because it's not free to take away anymore. So you really pile everything
I
in,
see.
nice and neat, and you pile it in.
Like Lego blocks.
Yes,
getting-
exactly. Yep.
Okay. So now that was Tuesday. So you finished that house,
Yes.
or you did.
I was done at that house, and then on Wednesday I moved to my third house, third and final, and then I was there for the rest of the week with Mimi, who's the homeowner.
Oh.
She's from Canada, so this is her
Oh.
second house here, and so she made a trip in October when the hurricanes hit on crutches because she had just had foot
Oh,
surgery,
dear.
and then she came back, and so we were working with her. And her home was one of the few homes in the neighborhood on stilts, but yet she still had water damage.
Really? Could you read?
Yes.
How high were the stilts?
Definitely at least 8 feet
Oh,
high.
really?
Yeah,
Oh,
they were
so
good.
Yeah. So
And-
so she had water damage even though.
Yes, yeah, but only there was a half gut, so it wasn't a full gut. So a half, like up to the counters, had to be gutted in the kitchen, in the whole house.
Because I know we love to go down to the shore in Connecticut, and as I've been walking around, you see more people
Yes.
like jacking their houses
Well,
up.
now
like
it's become a protocol there. So now the issue with this community is if you decide to demo your whole house, like take the tear down and rebuild, it has to be on stilts.
now you have to be on stilts.
But it's $40,000 to
Yeah.
stilt your house.
Yeah,
And then you have the problem of a lot of these people are elderly
Oh,
and they can't do stairs. So they picked this community because it's elderly friendly. It's
Yeah.
a nice community to be a part of. And so you have this problem of, okay, let's redo the house, but this house should be a tear down.
Yeah.
And so it's created a lot of problems for the people down there.
Yeah, that would be difficult. My wife and I, we moved into senior housing a while back, and everything's on one floor.
Yes.
And that's so nice.
Yes.
And where's the laundry? It's in that room with no stairs.
Exactly.
I have to take it out. Where is it? It's on one floor. I just had no stairs anymore. And then not only that, it's snowing. Oh, the other guys will take care of that.
Yes.
And the
that must
leaves,
be nice.
oh, those guys will take care of that. So I've gotten about 3 months a year out of my life back.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, I certainly don't miss that. Okay, so now this house, it was just a half gut. Oh, so was this house up on stilts?
Yes.
Oh, so you had to
We did a half gut.
a half gut.
And all most of the floors were taken out except the tile. So pretty much what we had to do this week was get her back in her house because her friends had people coming to stay, so she had to leave.
Oh.
And she didn't really have anywhere else to go. So we had to get it livable,
Okay.
which meant getting a temporary kitchen, which meant finishing the guest room for her because her room was, it had more work to do than the guest room.
Yeah.
It meant laundry and working water and all these things.
Yeah.
And so we pretty much just barreled down and did a lot to try and finish it, but it was also kind of fun because she'd leave and then we would try to get as much work done as
I see.
possible. And then when she'd come back, we'd surprise her.
Oh, well, that would be nice. That would be a treat.
Yes. So on Wednesday, I was able to set up a little bit of her kitchen. I was able to clean her countertops and get her coffee maker back in on just a table. Yes, coffee's important. And then other teams had started painting her guest room for her. And so that was getting finished. And then Thursday was about painting the hallways and then getting her living room set up, painting baseboards and all of that, so that by Friday we had her living room, her laundry was installed, a temporary sink was installed, her guest room was finished, so all painted, and she had somewhere that was at least livable
Yeah, so she gets
before everything was finished.
Now, something that just occurred to me. Now, who pays for all the materials?
So the materials, it depends on who you're working with. So she was working with us, EFCA, but she was also working with a contractor. The contractor was lying to her. So he was kind of not a good contractor, and he was causing problems throughout the whole park.
Oh, dear.
So it was time for her to get out of that situation, which we were trying to tell her, don't work with him anymore.
No.
Just call it off.
This wasn't the contractor who came with you, was it?
No.
Oh,
He's
okay.
just he was a volunteer.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Oh, so
Someone else, yes. And so EFCA comes in and uses the tools, and then they'll buy, say, drywall, or they'll buy the countertops and we'll install them.
So the homeowner buys, and then you
Yep. So they'll buy the paint, and then we'll come in and paint for them.
Okay, so they get okay. So this is the end of the third day, and you were telling me about when she came in.
Yeah, when she came in, it was really special because she was so surprised and so thankful and so happy because her home was getting put back together, and she loves her home. It's her happy place.
Yeah.
It's right. She's one of the few views on the pond, and so she just loves her house. And so it was really fun to be able to surprise her and see her reaction.
Now, you had said earlier that you said it seemed like kind of a small thing, but you cleaned something up, and that's all she talked about the rest of the day.
Yes, so I cleaned her countertops off.
Yeah.
And it's all she talked about, because then at lunch we all go to the clubhouse and eat together, and some of the other park owners are there. And so she would tell her friends, oh my gosh, I walked in and the countertops were clean. And that's what she talked about for the rest of the day. And it was something so small, and it was just organizing, and it made her week.
So now she's, she lives in Canada.
Yes.
Part of the time.
Part of the time, yep.
And so she's down there. She's like a snowbird.
Yes. Yep.
Okay. All right. Now. So is there still more work for her to do to get done?
The last I've heard is it's mostly done, because we've kept in touch with her. So I know that her cabinets are in, her floors are done. So that were two major things to get finished. And so I'm not sure where she's at now, but teams have come in and helped finish up a lot of the major things.
Okay, great. Well, we have to take another break, and we'll be right back and find out a little bit more. Okay, welcome back. I'm Mike May. We're here with Grace Snyder, and I said it right? Telling us about Florida. Okay, so now you finished her house, and was that it? Was that like the last project you had working on?
That was the last project I had working on, yep. And so we said goodbye to her, which is bittersweet, of course.
Yeah.
And then on Friday is always a half day working with EFCA.
Oh.
And so after that, either teams go home, or you can go home Saturday and do something Friday afternoon. So we took a trip to Sanibel Island and Fort Myers Beach to really see some of the devastation, since that's right on the water. And so we drove out there and saw complete devastation. And it was really just heart-wrenching because it was gone. And Sanibel was our favorite spot to vacation to. And so that's why this area of Florida was so close to my heart. And that's why I wanted to plan this trip, was because Sanibel Island is one of my favorite spots.
Oh, you've been there before?
I have, yes.
Oh.
Yep.
What is that, like a family vacation?
Yes.
Oh,
Yep.
Well, tell us about that.
Yeah, no, we'd road trip down, the four of us,
really?
my family.
Oh, no kidding. Oh, so
And-
this was all right. So this is a connection. This isn't just.
Yes, yes, which makes it even more dear to my
okay.
heart.
Oh, so you would drive by places. I remember what used to be there. Like,
Exactly, which was really hard. We saw the condo we would stay in for the week, and
Oh.
it's completely just, it's standing because it's concrete, but everything inside is just gone, and all the greenery and all the lush tropical plants are just gone. It looks so gray and just.
How many times did you go down there?
I've been to Sanibel 3 times before the storm.
So this was, like, because when you were talking about the hurricane in Houston, how high were the winds you had said?
180 miles sustained for 3 hours.
Because like 40 years ago in Connecticut, Hurricane Gloria came through. And I was living with my father in Newington, and it went like directly over his house. And that was just a Category 1 storm.
Right.
And he had a big solid house, and we were inside. I was like, I'm going to do something really stupid, but this is a once in a life. So I went to the door, and I stood outside, like up against the house like this. And I'm like, good grief, and good grief, and this is. And then something, whack, something hit me in the face and almost knocked me down.
Oh my goodness.
And do you know what it was? A leaf.
Wow.
I said, a leaf just almost knocked me down. I'm going to go back in the house and stay there until things are completely over. And there was no real damage. My Uncle Stanley, like a tree fell over, but we didn't, although we were without power for 5 or 6 days.
Yes.
And I was reading by a candle in a mason jar.
Oh, wow.
Because,
Right, you don't have it.
We didn't have any power. Well, that was quite an adventure down there for you. Now, when you're not tearing down houses, hopefully houses that people want torn down, what do you do?
So I run a photography business, and so that's my full-time job.
Okay. And tell us about that. What do you do?
Yeah, so I do a lot of families and newborns, weddings, engagements, all the fun things.
Okay. Now, how did you get into that?
I got into it on a trip to Sanibel. I picked up my GoPro and just started taking pictures and really liked it. Never saw myself as a creative person. I wanted to go, as a kid, I wanted to go to school for meteorology, which is another reason
Really?
why natural disaster relief is so close to my heart. But then that kind of just faded, and still love weather, just didn't want to do all the math involved.
Yeah.
And so then I kind of switched gears and then picked up a camera, and that was it. That's back when I was 15. And so now I used my mom's camera for a while, and then had a really great teacher in high school that turned it from I want to do this for fun to I want to do this for my life, like as my career.
And how long have you been doing this?
I've been doing this now for 7 years.
Oh, no, wow. So you're really established. You really have a business going here.
Yes, I was able to start it in high school.
Okay, that's excellent. Now, with this business, what would you like to see? Like, where would you like to be in 10 years or
Where
5
would
years?
I like to be? There's this field of travel elopements where you take couples who want to get married in these crazy cool places, just them, and they take you as their photographer. And it's a super small, intimate wedding on top of mountains and all these cool places. So I would really like to get into that kind of field, just travel. It's like travel weddings.
Travel weddings.
Yes.
Have you done any of these?
I did last summer, actually. I had a couple invite me to be their photographer for a wedding in Jupiter, Florida. But it was a true destination wedding, so it was 140 guests. So it was a big wedding, but it was pretty cool to travel for it.
Oh, I have family. My sister lives in Stewart, and I have family in Jupiter.
It's
See, things are
beautiful.
getting- yes,
Beautiful.
It is. It is. It's very, very beautiful. It was very strange for me visiting, even though it was beautiful, because I'm from around here. And there, everything is so flat.
Yes.
And
yes.
there were I would continually get lost because I couldn't go, well, there's that hill or there's something with there. Well, there's a Publix. Yeah, okay, that's going to be. Then I drive another mile and, oh, there's another Publix. So now now I really know where I am.
No, it gets very confusing. I drove across the state of Florida in January, and it's just dead straight for miles upon miles. And it's very different than here.
Now, tell us about this photography. Any interesting stories there? Something that stood out one time? Somebody went over Niagara Falls, or what?
Oh, overnight? No,
Well,
nothing.
maybe not that dramatic.
I'm pretty lucky. I don't have any crazy injuries that happen or anything like that. Most of it is what's cool is I become friends with a lot of my clients. And so that's been really cool. And then having them come back year after year, especially families, and I get to see them grow from, little kids to teenagers. So that's been very cool. It's just that they just keep supporting my business year after year.
Oh, okay. So like comeback. Do you have a favorite time when you're working? Like, do you like to work with kids or
Newborns.
Oh, newborns.
Yes,
Now, why
the
is
little
that?
babies.
Why is that?
They're just so cute. they're just they're squishy and adorable, and I don't know. I love that special time in the parents' lives. You can just tell the love is there. The love is there anyway, but it's just so special and unique because they're so little. And so getting to capture the stage that goes by really quickly because they're only a newborn for so long. I mean, in the photography world, we say newborn is up to 6 weeks old.
Oh,
and then
really?
after that, it's not a newborn stage anymore. And so you have 6 weeks to capture their all their little features before they grow.
Now, have you had a baby who was just really cranky and wouldn't cooperate?
Some of them will cry a lot, but then we just work with them. We just, it takes time.
And when you say just work with them,
We take it by their pace. So if they're crying, we give them time to, be fed or changed or soothed. And so it can take a couple hours for a newborn session, but that's okay. And we just kind of roll with it.
okay.
It's very laid back.
Okay. Well, that's good. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Now, after newborns, is there another?
It would either be little kids or engagements. Because it's all of the work that I get to do is all surrounded by love and by families' love or couples' love.
You're not a crime photographer.
No.
Okay, yeah.
And so it's just really special that they invite me into their lives to capture these big moments, like an engagement or a wedding. And I'm honored that people ask me to do that. And so definitely just capturing their families or them as a couple and them loving their photos and cherishing them and printing them for their house. And I get sent pictures of, look, we framed these, and that's always the best compliment.
You see
That they print
your
them in.
work.
Yes.
You're seeing your work and
Yep.
everything. Okay. Well, I want to thank you for joining us. You have two interesting things. So if you want a house destroyed or your pictures taken,
I'm your girl.
This is the person. So Grace, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us. I'm Mike May, and we hope to see you again in Conversations. Thank you.